Franklin, you remember I said I'll share something with you about a woman I've come to admire over the years, right? Um, Interestingly, I had a conversation with her this morning because we both share the same birthday, and I've taken her more like a mother to me, right? And she shared quite a lot of things this morning with me that got me a little bit emotional because anytime I asked about her marriage, right? Because she's currently married, she's old, she's currently 67, okay? And when I asked about her marriage the last time, she was very emotional. So, and she promised to tell me much about her relationship and stuff and advise me on it. So this morning, we had a conversation, and I've learned quite a lot. That at a point, I also got very emotional. And I remember you were asking me, what's my take on marriage these days, right? So this is what it is. But before that, let me tell you about how we met and who she is and how I've come to know her, right? That's quite a pretty pretty woman, even at her old age, 67, menopause. She's still pretty. She can compete to be a side chick. Yeah, she's very pretty, but age is not on her side, health is not on her side. She's a little bit weak as a result of what she's been through, but there's somebody who's coming from a very wealthy family. I mean, her family are very, what we call, dusted. They have lands, they have oil fields, they have lands for minerals, they have a lot of farms. They're very wealthy to do people. I mean, they don't really lack anything, and she's really not lacked anything. Very intelligent woman, trust me, very intelligent, and has a lot of children. The last time I checked, I really don't know the number, but she has quite a lot of kids now because that she's in a 12th marriage. She's been married to 12 husbands. Yeah. And I remember I asked her this morning, why do you keep getting married? And she goes like, she believes in love. She believes that if a man comes into her life with all the promises and fails them and asks for divorce, life goes on. Even though she has to face the consequences of it, she moves on with her life quickly to the next, and I think that's what has kept her going. It's a bit I don't know how to say it, but when I think about that, I don't know how it works out for her, but it looks like she's going on well. And this somebody who has seen it all. Trust me, she's seen it all. Her cousins are well to do. Her siblings, they're fairly well to do, but they're managing. And one of the things I admired about her, in fact, the first time we met, okay, was some few years ago, over 30 years ago. Yeah. And she was pretty. In fact, I was like, this is the woman. And at a young age, I knew she had a future, but I didn't get to talk to her that much, okay, because I was young then. But growing now and we meeting all over again and she telling me her story, we have come very close to each other. I saw her to be somebody who had ambitions, but this morning when she was talking to me, there were tears in her eyes, and I got emotional because it's almost as if time has passed her by so quick that the things she dreamed of becoming or doing has not really materialized. But she's not lost hope, you know. She's one hopeful person, somebody who has hope. If I am to place my hands on someone who has enormous faith, she'll be on the list. Yeah. In recent times, she called me that she has leukemia. You know, my wife is a doctor, and I was asking her about what leukemia was, because then she was telling me about a child at her hospital who also has leukemia they're trying to raise funds for. And she was telling me about leukemia, cancer of the blood. In other words, her circulatory system has cancer. In layman's language, the water, what you call blood, plasma, that runs through her entire body has been polluted, has cancer, and she's undergoing chemotherapy. But I told her I'm hopeful that one day the doctors would say that her blood vessels are clean all over again. So back to who this person is with respect to her marriage. So that she was telling me this morning about her relationship. Like I said, she's someone who believes in love, and being with 12 different husbands has taught her a lot of lessons. That comes with a lot of regrets also. But I remember about 5 years ago, where we met somewhere in the capital, and she was like, so I asked the question that amongst all the husbands, which of them would you always love to be with? Because some of her husband, okay, so let me say this. She mentioned that her first husband is the one that has a special place in her heart. Yeah, her first husband, because according to her, he was very caring, futuristic, had great ambitions, but unfortunately, death took him away. He died. Subsequently, she's had husbands, and she spoke of another husband, I'm not too sure, was a military man that did quite a lot of things for her. They had much fun. But I think the first time when they were dating was quite vigorous, was very military. And she didn't really enjoy it because you know how military men are. Her family wasn't too comfortable with him, but when he finally came to ask her hand in marriage officially, he was quite caring, also very futuristic, and very selfless kind of husband. That's the word she used, very selfless, who would love to get into the gutters to get things done. And that's one of the things that she loved about him. Unfortunately, they divorced, and I think she married one gentle giant, Oxford trained. I don't know if it was an economist or a lawyer, one of them, but I know she described him as quite an intelligent person who was very much concerned about her health. I told you she had asthma, and she did a lot of things to, yeah, that's how she posted. She was very much concerned when it comes to her health. I think they also divorced, right? And she got married again and again and again. And her current marriage, when she was telling me this morning, I asked her, what's up with your current husband? And she was like, he's cool. Prior to they getting married, he made a lot of promises. Yeah, and that got her excited because back in school, I think they schooled at a certain point. They knew each other at a point, and he was very vibrant and vocal, and so she believed in him with the stuff that he promised her will be doing, how he wants to see his family and the aspirations they had together. And so she agreed to to his proposal, and they got married. And the marriage started on a very good note, but along the line she realized that most of the stuff that he promised her were lies, which is like everyday marriage with the kind of marital stories that we're hearing in recent times. So she feels that he's failed her. I mean, the promises he said to her has not largely been achieved. Okay, I mean, he promised. No, let me be honest. I think she said the only promise that she got excited about that he has been able to fulfill has to do with her education. Yeah, her education and the education of her kids. This guy was really he had education on his heart, and so helped her previous kids with other husbands, her exes, to go to school, complete the education. Some he helped to do the masters and all of that. So she said she's impressed with education when it comes to her current husband, but with other things she's not really too sure he'll be able to fulfill all the promises. And I asked her, so why is she speaking that way? And she was like, it's most likely that this year she's gonna ask for a divorce. I was like, not again. And she was like, Dale, if you're not good, I'll ask for a divorce because I'm very hopeful. And I was like, so are you going to get married again? And she was like, of course. Of course. I was like, 67 years and you still want to get married? And she was, yeah. Even though she has reached her menopause and might not really be engaged sexually with the next husband, she feels romance is not just about sex. It's also about good communication. It's about the little things, okay? And so I asked her, so do you have someone in your life? Are you looking at someone? And she was like, currently there are 2 people on her list, but there are also other ones. And she told me about an ex-husband who they got divorced. In fact, they actually got married because the husband before him died in the marriage, right? And he died of I think cancer or something like that. He used to smoke, actually. And so I don't know if it's related, but he died of cancer and got married to this ex-husband who is trying to come back. But her problem is that her family is putting pressure on her to accept him back because he did so much. But he was a bit careless at a point and didn't know how to handle marriage and friends. That was largely his problem. It had to do with how to handle marriage, how to handle his finances, with respect to, I don't know if he was corrupt, but according to her, it had to do with how to handle the friends around him, right? And the family loved him. They currently like him because they're not too sure about the current performance of the husband. And the other guy seems to, okay, so this is what she said about the other guy. She said, Dale, this guy is promising, okay, but one thing I don't like about him is he's inconsistent with what he says and what he does. In other words, he's not too sure about his integrity because he mimics the current husband with respect to promises and does practically nothing. He doesn't love him as an economist, but he loves him when it comes to digital stuff, right? And she's into She was into digital ICT because she thinks that's the future. But her problem with this guy who's an economist has to do with she's not too sure about his integrity, and so her family is now pushing for her to settle with the ex-husband who is into community. I mean, according to her, she likes to have deep communication. She loves to communicate. I mean, and the ex-husband who she's thinking of bringing him back was good with communication, right? So she asked me what's my thinking. I mean, what's my advice for her? And I told her that, I really don't like to get into the marriage of other people, because sometimes you might become a third person. But this is what I said to her, that I also believe in good marriage, but she should do her work well and ask the relevant questions and be very, very observant. If she wants to settle with the ex-husband, so be it. If she wants to settle with this economist guy who's into digital stuff, so be it. But hold on. She told me about another. She's pretty, and you know how we men are. We would always come your way with enticing words. So she was like, there's another young man who excites her, causes her libido to come alive. Very young, vibrant person. And she was like, she's hoping that maybe in the future, if she doesn't die, they can get one or two things to do with each other. I mean, she likes to enjoy fresh blood. She's a bit naughty, trust me. You have no idea. 67. And this is the part that got me emotional. She was advising me when it comes to marriage, and she was like, Dale, life is a long journey and it's all about impact. She said she was hopeful, especially when she was in her 20s. She was hopeful that she would become that person with all the ambitions materializing. She should become that lawyer she always wanted to be, that would branch into industrialization and would be able to cater for her family and her kids and all of that, and make impact in society. And all, she had all those ambitions and aspirations, but for her it's not too late. But she was telling me that as a young person in marriage, I should be hopeful and have support my wife and love her. That's one thing that she told me. And I think you know this person. She's called Ghana. Yeah. Interestingly, like I said, I happen to share the same birthday with her. She's born on the 6th of March 1957. I was born on the 6th of March 1980 something. We share the same birthday. And this lady has been in my life, very supportive, until when I realized that the men that have come into her life through dating and marriage have not helped her entirely. They acted as politicians and taking so much from her and not giving back. And one thing I gleaned from what she was sharing with me was the gross disappointment she has with her current husband, who had everything to his disposal but yet did not fulfill a lot of his promises. And one thing that even breaks her heart is that he's given up on the marriage, and so she has no option than to ask for divorce this year. And interestingly, this current husband is suggesting to her that if the divorce should go through, he feels that his friend, who was his junior, can be a good husband. to her. I mean, who talks like that? And that's what's pushing her to go for her ex-husband, because she doesn't think she wants to date or get married to the friend of her ex who is suggesting him to her. I don't know if you get it. And that breaks my heart, you know. But like I said, marriage is different. Everybody has their own story when it comes to marriage. I have enjoyed marriage so far in my life, married to one of the beautiful women, Dr. Mrs. Christ. And today being my birthday, she's helped me celebrate it in a very special and memorable way. She's one person I would live for and sacrifice anything for. Very selfless woman who has dedicated her life to the health of others, to make sure that kids are healthy and live healthy lives, you know, aspiring to specialize as a pediatrician. And so there's a little I can share with you. Now, if you're watching me as a child of this person, beautiful woman by all class, who had everything at her disposal, pretty woman called Ghana. If you're a citizen and as a child of this republic, I have given up a lot of times because I had aspirations. I had hope about this country. Growing up, I felt there's gonna be a time in my life growing up that I'll be able to achieve the things I wanted to achieve, because I felt this country had so much potential for the upcoming ones. I remember hearing statements like, the future is bright. Little did I know that in no time I would become the future. And when I look at myself right now, I don't see the future. I woke up this morning around 3 a.m. thinking about my age and their Independence Day, and I was very emotional and heartbroken, because I was one of the people that used to say I would not leave this country and go elsewhere to make ends meet because grass is greener on the other side. I would live in this country. But the story is not the same, because the last time I was at the airport, it was almost as if 70% of the youth of this country were leaving. And I asked myself, is there hope? Is there? Anytime I hear the national anthem being played or sung, the pledge being said, my heart breaks, because I don't see hope. I don't see a bright future for this country. It looks as if anybody that comes to get married to this woman takes advantage of her. They abuse her. And for how long can we continue to do this? You know? I want to believe that as well. But the realities doesn't match up to the hope in our hearts that one day it will get better. The realities don't match up, to be honest. If you're a citizen of this country possibly watching this video, I don't know if I can say I want to encourage you, because I'm not encouraged myself, but I have hope that we would make the right choice going forward in the coming elections. And even if we don't make the right choice, I'm hoping that one day there'll be that someone who is not looking at the next election, but looking at the next project or change or policy that will be a game changer for this country. I used to think that when I grew up I'll become a president. I used to have that aspirations, but it's dead. I know you say that all hope is not lost, but I don't see it coming. I'll be honest with you, my hands are up. Yeah, my hands are up. I had hopes. I had hopes for this country, seriously. Sometimes when I play the anthem, I get emotional. I cry so much. Especially when you wake up in the mornings and you have a lot of calls coming from people who need help, who need as little as 10 cedi just to survive. I mean, they call you to send them mobile money, and sometimes you can't even tell them that you're also in the same suit or shoes they find themselves, because they think that you have all going well with you, but you just have to pretend as if all is going well. But generally, when I look across, everyone is suffering. Even though there are people in this country who are enjoying, it's just a few. But I'm looking forward to a country where the average person can eat 3 square meals a day. The average person would wake up and say that there's hope for my kids. The average person can go anywhere in this world and be bold about his country of origin and nationality as a Ghanaian, and will not work as a laborer in another country just to make ends meet, so that he can come back and put up some good life. I'm looking forward to waking up to a country where it's clean, the waters are clean, so that this beautiful woman will not have leukemia. A country where there's opportunities everywhere, where when you think about an idea, it can come into fruition because the opportunities are there to support you financially, with ideas, with loans and everything. I'm hoping for that country. I'm hoping to see that. Like I said, I've lost hope, but a little faith left. I pray and believe that we make a right choice going forward, that there'll be an intervention, and we will take the bull by the horn, taking the destiny into our hands and make things better. Happy birthday, Ghana, my motherland. I love you, and I know that there's a reason why we share the same birthday. But that's what I say to you: do not lose hope. One day you'll be better, and we will celebrate you well. I'm Delquest, your mind surgeon. Let your mind do the conversations, and have a great birthday, sweetheart, beautiful mom. I love you very much. I'm out.